Hello, I'm Marcus Bronzy, and today it's time for another episode of What's in the Box? What's in the Box? And today we're looking at the Yeti Blackout. Now, Yeti are one of the most well-known microphone companies in the world. In fact, it's funny, I've had this box out and everyone in the office has walked in and gone, oh, a Yeti microphone. Okay, that's sweet. Oh, a Yeti, yeah? Oh, okay, cool. It's one of those brands of microphones, probably really well associated with streamers, also people that produce music in studios. This microphone here is an example of an all-rounder. I happen to know a little bit about my microphone, so just a little bit. So let's get into the Blackout Yeti. Before I open the box though, let's pick up some stats and see what they say it's all about. This microphone has a few features, like it has a mic gain control hardwired onto the device. It also has a 4-polar pattern detector, and what that does is help you have the microphone in different settings for different recording environments, which we'll get into in a little bit. It's got a master volume button as well, which is another hard button on it, which means you can select the volume without having to go into any software, because it's cool to have loads of software, but sometimes you just want to twist the knob and get the setting you need. It's got a mute button as well, same thing. You want to just mute the mic at its source. That's really good. They claim that it's a low latency microphone. It has a 0 latency headphone output, and what that means is that you plug your headphones into the mic and you can hear everything going into the mic before it goes into your computer. It takes USB mini jack and that plugs straight into your computer. Simple, and it's got its own bass as well. This is the tri-capsule array, and I think it's a question of which ones are on at which time, which gives you the different settings to pick up different sounds. They've got this cool grid on the back, which is like a key for which settings you should have for the type of recording environment that you're in. So for example, if you're for the cardioid setting, you should be using that if you're streaming, if you're doing Skype or Discord or Zoom or stuff, for podcast or voiceovers, because it picks up one person, it's got a little logo. Omnidirectional is great because it picks in sound from different areas, so that works for conference calls with a number of people, field recordings where you want to pick up ambient sounds, and also events or orchestras if you want to use this microphone to record an orchestra. I can honestly say I don't know anyone who's done that, but yeah, it makes sense. Bidirectional means the sound comes in from each side, so it's, imagine like one is one ear, one is the other, and that's good for interviews, for one-on-one conversations. This says it's also good for musical instruments, which I think would sound good, or vocal duets as well, so one person's on one side, one's on the other. I think it's also good for stereo recording when you want to go out, and I kind of like bidirectional for picking up ambient sounds as well, because we have 2 ears, so it's really cool to hear like a sound whooshing from left to right, for example. Or in fact, sometimes in the edits you'll have like little whooshing sounds, and a lot of those have like left to right sound effects, which is why they sound cool, so that's why we like that. Stereo, which is pretty much similar to bidirectional, but it works in a slightly different way. On the logo it's saying that they picks up a bit more information coming from behind the microphone. Omnidirectional cardio is where we'll definitely be able to hear a difference. But that's enough about the background of the mic. Let's get into it. Put the knife away before I hurt myself. So 1 microphone with 4 settings, that's what we're going to be testing today. I'm very excited to see what we got cooking. If you have watched this channel before, you'll know that we have checked out Blue Yeti microphones before, and we are fans of the output that they give. Or shall I say you were fans, because you heard the output. And we're going to do a similar A/B test. Right now we're using the Rode Wireless Go 2, and we're going to be switching over to the microphone audio once I get this all hooked up. So anyway, box wise, this is all looking good. Instructions, you know what we do with those, that's all good. That's a USB A to B. So I didn't realize that. I thought we were going to have a micro USB for this. So I thought it was going to be a micro USB. USB A to mini. So I actually haven't got one of these around me today, so we'll use that. But hey, USB lead's a USB lead. Here is the device itself. This isn't how it this isn't how it looks when it's out. Got to do some foldery. Get that lined up. Bosh. Here we go. Here's the mic, and you use these little adjusters here to loosen it, because if you don't, it'll drop. The mic is erect, says Reese on the cam. But you know I love a pun in it. But that was, you know what? That was actually punderful. I'll give you a shout. Let us know in the comments what you get out of that out of 10 for that punderful joke. Right, so here is the microphone now. So I guess let's talk our way around it. I mean, for starters, actually, before we get into it, it's a nice, solid feeling mic. I expect that from Yeti. Their build quality is always that of a microphone, which is solid. Does a microphone need to be solid to sound good? No. Some people like to have a solid mic just because it's easier to have without knocking it out of the way if it's got a nice solid bass. So a lot of that weight you're feeling is on that bass. With that being said, I believe that you can unscrew this microphone and connect it to a specific arm that Yeti have, and that will help you have it on a suspension. But last time I used this, I believe we just had it here in the studio and I was just talking into it like this. Right, anyway, so in terms of the features, so here on the front of the mic, you can see here's the mute button. So you press that, and obviously that can mute and turn off the microphone as soon as you need to. Here's the volume button, which you use for your headphone jack. In terms of the headphones, just so you know, they're actually right underneath, and that's where you plug in the USB as well. So you've got the USB mini there and the jack for headphones. That's why on the box it said USB mini jack, and I was thinking, USB mini jack? But it meant it's got both. On the rear of the microphone, you have got the pattern button where you can set the pattern. That is the cardioid. That's the omnidirectional. That's the stereo. And that's the bidirectional. So we're going to be having a go on each of those one by one. And there's the gain as well. So you can adjust the gain on the microphone. Is it louder when you're recording into your device, or isn't it? So what I'll do today is I'll probably set the gain relatively low because I don't want to blow it out. And then in post, what we're going to do is we're just going to push up by a few decibels, which we'll put on screen. Usually we push up all the audio by about 5 decibels and don't do anything else to it when we're doing these microphone reviews to keep it nice and fair. So without further ado, let's plug it all in. That's set. So now I think it's time we switch over to the audio on the Blue Yeti, and I'm going to have a listen through here. There we go. This is the Blue Yeti, and I can adjust the volume setting on the front to hear it. And I'm already... This is good. This is why it's good to monitor through headphones, because there's actually a little bit of electrical interference. I know it's like a high-pitched whine that you get sometimes. It could be... I'm gonna turn this up. We'll get back to the test in a second, but I'm just gonna turn this up. See if you can hear this. And this is why we want to hear things at point of recording with low latency, so you can pick up. That is the radio signal from this device here, stopping this from recording a clean signal because it's giving it a little bit of electrical feedback. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn this down. And then I'm really happy that we got that, because that's a really good way of showing you how, just make it so that's a little bit low. I'm really happy that you found that, because that's a really good way of showing you why you need low latency monitoring of your audio, which is great. Just want to say at this moment, when you plug this into your computer as well, you can actually listen back via the headphone port. So if you're recording or editing afterwards, you can listen back via the jack. So this is like a mini sound card of sorts, if you want to call it that, because you can listen back to the audio that is being recorded and obviously record via the microphone into it as well. Obviously you can't line record into it, but that's because it's not a proper sound card, it's a microphone. But that's really cool. That's really, really good. Next, I guess it's time for us to test the patterns. First, we've got it set on the cardioid setting, which means this is about it's about 10 centimeters from my face, actually. 10 centimeters, 10 inches from my face at the moment. And this is how it's picking up my voice. This is probably where I put it if I was working with it, if I was streaming. This is how it'd sound. I'll give you a little bit of silence before I start doing some talking. So yeah, that's my laptop. It's my laptop audio that's being picked up there. I'll just point out my laptop. So and that's why you got it with this setting, because you want it to be picking up your voice and nothing else in the room. As I spin it around, you can kind of hear how it sounds different, and that's the cardioid pattern designed to pick up my voice and my voice only. So let's give it a few tests. This is it, as you can see, on its quarter setting. This is me talking kind of quietly, you know, yeah, just me just whispering. Here's my regular voice. Here's me talking quite loudly. Elation. Woo! Yeah, damn, this is me overpowering the mic and going crazy. You see how this sounds? I've just won Call of Duty Warzone. I've just got my 100th dub. There you go. And then here's some silence. Like I said, you can hear a little bit of fan from my laptop, but I'm pretty cool with that. That wasn't me. That was a little bit flatulent there. So yeah, that's the setting that I probably use it on the most. But let's go through the other settings. Next, we have the omnidirectional setting. So how I'm going to show this, how this works, is if I have it on cardioid and I'd like you to, if possible, just say exactly the same thing with exactly the same volume, however you usually say it. Yeah, Reese, is that cool? What you been up to today, bro?
Nothing much. Been doing a bit of photography, running around the town. Some portrait photography with a few models, mainly some analog, and then I chilled out, went home, had some TV, and had some food.
Wicked. All right, cool. I'm gonna just a setting to directional. Same thing again, please.
Yeah, so I did some photography, went along the river, took a few really interesting portraits, went to the shops, got some ingredients, made some food, chilled, went home. Yeah, that's about it.
There you go.
Very exciting.
Hear a bit more on my laptop, because my laptop's in there. You can hear my squeaky chair as well. So that's that. And then next we want to set it on omnidirectional. So what that means is, the best way to explain this is there's sound that comes in here, not so much here. Sound that comes in here, not so much here. If I switch it over to omnidirectional, now wherever I am facing the microphone, you can hear that there's sound coming from all around. So if Reese is over there making fart noises like he did earlier on, if I'm over here. But yeah, so basically this is the sound working from all directions. I'm trying not to rush it around too much, so you can hear that's what omnidirectional does. When you compare it to that setting that we have there, great for interviews and cuts off any sound coming out. Now another setting which is pretty cool is this stereo setting. Right, so if it's left to right, it should be like this. As I move and keep talking, you should hear I come central, and you can hear how the sound pans a little bit. And this is it picking up the sound from different sides. So this is what stereo is like. So you should be able to hear it kind of moving between your headphones. If you've got headphones in, you'll hear this. If you're listening to this on the laptop, you might not hear this as much. But that's how the stereo works. There we go. Let's pop it back. Just one note, when you do switch between the patterns, sometimes there's a little pop or a crack. It's normal, that's cool, it's not your microphone breaking. But yeah, this has been it. This has been the Blue Yeti Blackout, which if I'm honest, love the colour because it kind of matches the room. But any other questions you have about this microphone, feel free to drop us a line in the comments. We'll try our best to answer. But thank you for Yeti for sending this along and letting us have a go on this microphone, because I think it's a great microphone for streamers, a great microphone for interviewing, and probably one of the pound for pound best all-round microphones out there. Keep it coming, Yeti. This has been How to Kill an Hour. I've been Marcus Bronzy. Stay blessed.